Welcome to Factorio True Megabase. My name is Nilaus and this is the first weekly recap of our new Twitch series. So, for anyone who is not aware or has not watched any of these before, basically what I'm doing is I'm streaming live on Twitch. This is at twitch.tv/Nilaus, and I'm streaming Factorio on Tuesday, Thursdays and Sundays at 8 p.m. Central European Time. And that makes it 12 hours of streaming every week, and at the end of the week or at the beginning of the next week I take all of that and compress it down into a neat 20 minutes summary of what we've done, where we're heading, what are the interesting things, and where to go next. So that's what we're going to do. First thing we're going to do is I will explain sort of the Twitch mechanic, because there is always an interaction with the Twitch API created by the virtual crew. So what it does and how it works is, well, let's start with the purpose of the series actually. So the purpose of the series is to create a true megabase. And what does that mean in my opinion? Well, that means I need to make a base that produces 1 million signs per hour. That corresponds to 16,667 signs per minute. That's, or what is it, 278 per second, something like that. So, you know, that's a pretty big base, but one does not simply create a megabase. One starts by creating a starter base. So what we are going to do in this series is actually make a very neat and, dare I say, crisp starter base, and that's what we're going to be working on. So first things first, we have this world. This world is just a normal world. There's nothing much here. You can see there are biters, and it has really a lot of resources aside from sort of the starter resources, but it does have quite a bit of resources in this on this map, because I want to build big, obviously. So the first thing we're going to do is build a nice base, and I think that just by going into the first episode, after the first episode, we can take a look at some of the weirdness, and that weirdness will guide us to how the Twitch interaction works. So let's jump forward at time and one stream forward. Here we are, one stream into the base, 4 hours more or less, and as you can see, something looks weird. Aside from not really doing much in the first 4 hours of the stream, then something else is weird here. And the weird part is that's the big squares. What are these squares? Well, that's my Twitch interaction, and you can see they are somewhere, not everywhere. And I just walk my lone slow self here, but we can work faster. We can go faster, faster, faster. And look at that, we have robots. But they were our cheating weapons. So this is refined concrete, and so that's the whole impact of it. What it works is, if there is a hype train, then the winner of the hype train on the bit side and the sub side will get a square of concrete of their choosing in terms of color into the base. And the way that the size of it, you can see there are different sizes. It will be a 2 chunk by 2 chunk if it's a level 2 hype train, a 3 by 3 if it's a level 3 hype train, a 4 by 4 if it's a level 4 hype train. So that's basically how it works, or 1 by 1 if it's a level 1 hype train. And basically we can then keep a track of here who has won the hype trains and how big the districts are, how many districts. Well, that's a bit of a mistake, that should be 1, but how many chunks they cover, and you can say that's kind of a score list for anyone who wants to compete in such a way. So that is the extent of it. So it doesn't change anything in terms of movement. It changes some aesthetic, whether you like it or not, it's aesthetic. And there is no accounting for art. I think that's how we can say it. And that's basically all it does. It will make us run a bit faster, which is nice. It'll also just make pollution spread a lot faster, which is not so nice. So the way I'm always starting, when I'm doing this is, well, I'm building you guessed it, a bus base and a city block base, and that's what we're going to do. We are starting by building here the jumpstart base, getting that one up and running so that we can build our future base. And it does take a bit of time to get these things up and running and build some power and such like that, but the idea is that I'm going to spend a bit more time than usual on building something that's really neat. So what you can see here is more neat than usual. You can see that I spend a bit more time on just making these lines extra crispy, and the merging here is also extra crispy. So that's really the objective. There's a little one there missing. So what I'm doing is taking my initial, let's get that overlay out. There's enough overlays here. I'm getting the iron and copper. I'm getting some of it into my jumpstart base because that's still where we're going, and I'm getting some of it into the bus base, and the bus base is now ready to go. It's ready to start up. I did have to spend, and this takes quite a while, go out and build these and clear them out with grenades. So that's kind of some of the things that we had to do in the first stream. Also, basically what I want to do is that I want to work it with yellow belts all the way up to getting robots. As soon as we have robots, I will use the robots to convert the base into red belts. And right before I convert it to red belts, then when everything is yellow belts, I'll basically take a screenshot, and that will, well, a screenshot, that's called blueprint in Factorio, because Factorio has blueprints, yay! I'll take a blueprint of it, and that will basically be a base that you can stamp down if you want to build a base that does all these things using all of my masterclass blueprints. Just boom, get it there. You know exactly what to do, and it's basically just fill in with the colored belts all along the way. So that's the first part. We have some columns of iron and copper going on either side, and I'm planning ahead what I want in these locations, so that should be good. Let's jump forward in time and see how it evolves after the second stream of this cool new base. So here we are getting a much better base. We have a number of things added, and we also have a number of additional locations here. We can see that the score here is still Dandian and FRD dot leading on the chunk base. Still, the district thing is somehow weird. I don't know why it doesn't work in single player. We've made some changes. We've moved our power down here instead of having it on the bus upwards. Bad idea. Getting it down here, that's a kind of a useless spot right now. I could and probably even should be building it down here if I want to be really consistent, but apparently I don't want to. So then we have the different locations. I have my stone brick production here. That stone brick production is going to be, yeah, it's going to be pretty normal. This is what I want it to be. This is where I want it, and I want copper in this one and copper in that one. On the other side, I will have iron. I'll have, basically I'll have iron and steel, iron and steel, iron and steel. That'll give us 12 belts. Yes, 12 belts of iron outbound, which is what we want. And I have on the other side 16 belts of copper. That's what we want. And we're bringing things up. We also get now steel, building it this one. It's again our masterclass build. It's wonderful. I love it. And each of those are taking half a yellow belt in and will then put out not a full belt for sure. So let's go up here. We are starting up here by the bus, and the first thing we do is actually I'm going to leave this space open, and I do this for a specific reason. There are some things that I want in on the bus at earlier than all of these things, but not right now. And that's actually, I want my oil to be here, and I want some military and uranium thing here. The reason why I want it here is because I actually want trains to come in, and I want to serve it with dropping uranium off here, dropping coal off here. And the coal will go into the plastic, so that fits. And I want to get that in from the bottom, and I think that's the right way to do it. So we are getting our usual hub. I've converted, or I have everything here set up to just be yellow belts, and it's producing. We don't build our sacred path because it will be overridden by these blocks. So I don't know. That's kind of how I decided it right now, because we hope that with more hype trains there will be more coverage, and then everything will be these beautiful and silly Harlequin squares. So as we build, first of all, we built the hub here. We are building the green science here. We're leaving all the rest of this block empty because I'm going to get this one double up in size. So when it gets to red belt, I want it there and there. And that should be all of the green circuits we need. Then we're going to reserve the next one for red circuits. But on the other side, I'll have the hub, and then I'll have science. So what we're building here is red and green science, then military science, and build a science lab here. Did I change it? Not much. And then we're preparing to get the other things in from the north side. So as you can see, at this point, we have everything that you can do, everything that you can wish for that does not involve oil and therefore blue science. So this is a great place to end at a stream and then go like, all right, we got everything. We got red, green, military, all the research done. Now it's time for oil. Luckily, our oil is right there. Remember, this one has to be kept empty, and this one has to be kept empty for inbound trains. Also down here, I want the inbound trains to come in from the side. We got lots of materials down here, so we shouldn't have any problems getting stuff from in here. We can even take this one. And so that's where we are at this point. Let's spend the time and jump forward to the third stream of the week. There's actually 4 streams in this summary, so let's take a look at the next stream, how much we progressed. As you can see, the base is getting more clustered around here, and you can see that it's also being covered with a big one here, Gareth and Nova Charlie. If you look at the score list here, Nova Charlie and Gareth are in the lead here with those big level 5 hype train blocks up here. And we can see the bus space is progressing. I have not scaled it up much. I mean, I have 4 lanes here and still only have this 1 lane here. I have on the other side, I have scaled it up tiny bit. But most importantly, what we do have is that we have progressed a bit in terms of tech. The only space when we left off, there was a bit of empty space here. That empty space has now been filled out with a custom build here for making accumulators and solar panels, which we will use. And this location here is for building laser turrets because it's using all the same items. So that means this square is done. That's exactly what we want here. We've also built a little thing down here that's going to be military science. This one, or military hub, making cliff explosive. We don't really need that. We don't really need this either. But what we do have is the availability, and that's going to make us some grenades. What is it called? They're calling explosive shells, cannon shells, explosive cannon shells for the cannon as we get along. But the main part is, of course, the oil that's being tapped here. Oil is going in, getting pushed into a build here. We decided to actually go take the big build, the one that I'm basically my end game oil build, and then just take out the beacons and modules. And because, and this is true, my initial one is actually too small. So let's build this one. We started by building it just without the refined, the advanced oil, and then as soon as we got the first bits going, the first blue signs going, we upgrade this one to the advanced oil processing, and now we have lubricant, we have petroleum, and we have light oil, all being built at a good rate. And going out on the bus, I'm also adding 2 belts, no, that's not belt, 2 pipes of water. Normally I wouldn't do it because you have water right here, but I think it's just better to keep it on the bus so that it's something, again, coming back to the idea that it is a replicatable thing. We reserved some space for 2 builds of plastic that can actually be doubled on the other side, so that when it's fully up and running, you can, from this space that we have reserved, we can get 4 red lanes of plastic, which should be enough. And we can then change it, instead of the coal coming in here, we can change it so the coal comes from a train when that is needed, and it will be. Sulfur, sulfuric acid, going out, the sulfur is the one we need, also plastic going up, and of course that means we can go on the other side. Let's move it around here. I mean, it's just so much easier to work with it, to show it on the map. Let me know if you mind the map view or if you don't mind the map view, because on one hand the map view is so much easier to go around, but it can also look a bit flickery. But otherwise, it's just me running around like an idiot like this. And we are here. This is our red circuit build, and it's extremely crowded. But being crowded means that we can actually build many more. Okay, I'm not going to build it, of course, but you know, the idea is that I can build one here, and that will get us almost enough red circuits. It's going to take a lot of red circuits here, and because they're building so slow. But right now, is looking good. We got what we need. We got red circuits out there on the bus. We got everything saturated, and we don't have anything really to do. We do have a bit of tech here, but those are boring things. All the interesting things we've already researched. Moving up along the bus, we could see over on the left hand side we did have some batteries, not particularly interesting, and then on top of that we have our blue science. Now I've revised this blue science compared to the one that I have in my masterclass, and I think I actually did upgrade it. The reason for this one is because this is now ready to have beacons positioned in here, and that was just a better design all around to be able to service with beacons later on. And I did the same thing for the engine build so that it could be upgraded to beacons later on, much later on. But that's basically as far as we get right now. What we're going to do now is, as you can see, we are having trouble. We've expanded our base, but it's triggering biters here, it's triggering biters here, and soon it'll trigger biters everywhere else. We are going to take this location. Where art thou? That one. We're going to attack this one, make some grenades, and as we have the grenades, we are going to go out with a tank and just beat up on the poor biters so we can get some more space for our beautiful factory. And then we jump on forward to the next stream, the last stream of the week, and let's see what that has in store and how much we progress there. At this point, you are now fully updated with the state of affairs, and this is basically how the base looks. You can see we've added some solar panels, and most importantly, we've added robots and roboports here. So the roboports are now pretty much everywhere. You can see here there's a good coverage. Well, the color on color, but there's an orange field everywhere. Also, we have expanded a bit on some of the the science percentage, you can also see it's a bit darker shade here than before. But aside from this, the belts are fully saturated. They are still only green, still only yellow belts. Sorry, great coloring. But what we have is we built this one, and we built the first part of the yellow signs. We've also overhauled the yellow signs so that again it does allow for beacons to be put in later on. But we don't build the yellow signs. We build the yellow signs excluding the yellow signs, because that will give us the robots that we then go in here and build. The one thing it doesn't give us though is the ability to make the logistics bots. But basically at this point, if you want logistics bots, you just bring 500 from here, or I don't know how many hundred you want, and then just put it in a box and then allow it to build by itself, and then you should be fine like that. So we have also converted our hub, where is it here, to logistics chest. So now everything is accessible from the logistics view, and we can now have the robots build things, and that's going to be allowing us to scale up. So at this point we are pretty much at a crossroad, or a bit before this we are at a crossroad. That crossroad is, all right, so we have robots. What are we going to do? We need to upgrade everything to red belts. Yes, and robots, they can do that. Perfect. We've also built a large stockpile of belts, so that's fine. But on the other hand, you can also say, but we only have this part here, and that's not much. We really do need a lot more, because this is not going to support all of this. It's only because things are not being consumed, and as we scale up consumption, we're going to need more materials in. So what I've done, I have started designing the interaction, or the train station going in here. I want a 2-lane on the side. I don't think there's a point to having a 4-lane. We did that in the Death World base, and I don't think it was a good idea. It didn't cost a lot of extra complications in terms of sightedness on these, and using the inside and the outside lanes and all the interactions, and it just wasn't giving us any extra throughput, just more headaches. But this one though, we spent a bit of time on it, and I'm very happy with it, but I wouldn't surprise me if someone can come up with some improvements. So the key features here is that it has stackers, 4-stacker here. Actually, it has an extra stack going from this one all the way in. This is 1-4 trains. This is of course not Megabase. This is just a nice little starter base, and it's going to be lovely, which will unload here as fast as it possibly can. Of course, blue inserters cannot fill a red belt, but at this point, it's going to be fine for what we need. But this will just be basically the scale that we work on, and each of these stations will be responsible for bringing 8 red belts inbound, and that's why it's so important to have the trains just standing ready and just going in as fast as possible. To that effect, we've designed it such that if I'm standing at this one, you can actually have a train parked behind but still going out of the station. So as soon as the train is done unloading, it can actually leave the station, whether it leaves this way or this way. It leaves the station, and as it leaves the station, the next train can start unloading while this train is waiting to cross this one or cross that one, and basically find room on the main line. So I think that's really good. Another key feature here is that anything coming from south will branch away before it goes in. Likewise here, anything will branch away from the main line before anything goes back in on the main line. That means if I had somehow moved these around so that it would go in on the main line before it goes out on the main line, that would just add a bit of extra location on the main line that would have more belt throughput than needed. So this is why it's not symmetric, but I like it. It's really curly and using the entire city block for what we need. I really like this one. I'm looking forward to implementing it, because now that we've designed it, took a bit of time, I can just stamp it down on this side, and then I can go like, oh crap, I can't rotate the real blueprint. So I'm going to have to do it manually on the other side as well. But we'll get it. We'll get it. I'm sure we will. And with that, we can then start next time going down here, out, and then tapping the copper, the iron, bash these around, the coal, the stone, all of those things that we need to bring into the base quite efficiently, and in order to scale this up and turn it and actually fill up the red belts that we are going to upgrade to. Because upgrading to red belt, it doesn't really make any sense in steel furnaces if we can't feed material in fast enough. Scaling up the consumption of all of this doesn't really make sense, but we will need to do that as we get closer to rocket launch. And that's probably, I don't think it's going to be the next time we do, the next stream we do rocket launching, because the train things have to be set up and actually implemented. But after that, then we'll get the rocket launchers, and then we actually have a base that can do just a bit of science, and then build a lot of other things. And that other things, that's exactly what we need. And that's where we need to start building the Megabase. And that's going to be a massive undertaking. My tentative idea about it is that I'm going to build this little thing, and it's going to get materials here of 72 million, 56 million. We even have more, 35 million here. Those items down here will be fine to feed this base. Oil-wise, this one, we can tap that one as well. It's fine. This little area that we can see here will be enough to feed our starter base forever and ever and ever. So that means all the stuff up here, and however, I would imagine that we'd probably build a science facility maybe like here, and then start working from there. So it's going to be a massive, massive undertaking. It's going to be so damn awesome when we get to that. And before that, we'll have a really, really neat base with red belts just working and producing science and all that. It will probably be upgraded to blue belts, but it's really not necessary for such a small base, because the base is not supposed to do science. It's just supposed to do, well, get us onwards and upwards. That's going to be it in terms of updates on this playthrough. I hope that you find it interesting and you want to join my streams. And let me just mention it again. It is over on Twitch TV/Nilaus. It is Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays at 8 p.m. Central European Time. And if you can't watch that live and you want to go more into detail than this, then do check out. There's a link in the description below to my secondary YouTube channel that only has the VODs from my live stream. So if you want to watch the whole VOD, maybe even speed it up, then you can just jump there and watch it on that on the second channel as well. And be sure to subscribe to that channel if you haven't already. I'm assuming that you have subscribed to this channel, right? I mean, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, really? And with that, I'm gonna call it, and I will see you guys either here on YouTube, on Discord, or maybe on the next live stream. If you are coming in, feel free to say hi. I love new viewers coming in. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Until then, take care, and as always, stay effective.